It's not cool. Okay, so I'm basically digging my own grave by saying this.
Hey everybody, Chris Johnson with Monument Traders Alliance. Brian and Karim were on just a couple of weeks ago to give you their 2026 outlook. And during that outlook, Karim gave us a warning. It may have seemed a little grim, but he gave us a warning about silver that came true this week when silver fell 30%, the worst decline since 1980. Well, guess what? A lot of people are asking, what do I do now? I've got him in the studio today. We're going to talk about why it fell, what to expect as you look forward in terms of silver, and the price that he'd be buying silver at. It's not at the current levels. We also talk about gold because you have to talk about gold when you talk about silver, why he prefers that in terms of a longer term view. And guess what? He gives us his ultimate buy price, the price that he couldn't resist to buy gold at. And as if you needed a little bit more, Bitcoin dropped through $75,000 while we were talking. So he gives us his target on Bitcoin, and it's quite a bit lower, as well as a way that you can trade it. A little bit of a trade idea, not only for silver, gold, but also Bitcoin. Spend a little time with us, 15, 20 minutes or so. You're going to be a better investor for it. Let's jump into it right now. All right, Karim, this is awesome to get back together just a couple weeks after you made that outlook. For those of the people that are watching this that weren't with us on that day, I'm actually going to play it because it is awesome to hear looking back. And this tells people why they should be listening to you. Here we go.
Just tell my wife against your profits because you know what your cost is. And you don't ever want to go down to your cost. So let me tell you a couple things about silver, okay? When silver corrects, it doesn't just go down $5 an ounce. Okay. It goes down 20, 30, 40 based on a percentage. So if it was $20 an ounce, it would drop to like $12 an ounce. If it's $100 an ounce, it can drop to like $70 an ounce. And not like in a month. I'm talking like in a couple of days. Okay.
There it is. When you look at what happened to silver after that, and granted, we popped from $80, $90 all the way up above 100, and we can talk about the psychology around numbers, but you absolutely nailed that. I mean, we saw the SLV pull back. So
it dropped 30, $40 an ounce basically
right.
overnight. And it's going to do the same thing again if it gets up there. You know, I mean, you guys should trade. You can trade silver all you want. I don't mind trading silver. You know, I've got silver positions that I trade. I don't really trade gold. Gold I tend to invest in. Silver, you know, silver is not really a monetary instrument. People tend to forget that. It's more of an industrial instrument. And when industrial metals get too expensive, guess what? Companies stop buying it. Okay. And then they start substituting with copper. I mean, it may not be as efficient, but substitutes are available. But when you look at, you know, one of the things we looked at in that same call was the silver futures chart. And at that time, silver was at like 85 or 90 or something like that. And
Right.
the futures going out to November, you could basically buy it for $94, $4 more, 6, 7, 8 months out. So what was that was telling you is that the rally wasn't really being taken seriously by the futures market. Now, yeah, it didn't. You know, if you bought it at $90 and you managed to squeak out a profit at 115, you know, a week or two later, that's great. But if you didn't, and if you bought it at 115, you're not very happy even right now. So go ahead and trade silver, but silver is more of a speculative instrument. Gold is more of a longer term instrument, but gold also had both of these runs have been speculative in nature. Okay. Give me a reason why silver is worth $115 a year after it was trading at $27. Okay.
Yeah.
If you can give me a good reason for that, like, oh, all of a sudden 10 silver mines collapsed and the supply dried up. Okay. Canada stopped producing silver completely. You know, Coeur d'Alene, Hecla, all these guys went out of business because they couldn't fund operations. Okay, I can see that. But absent those reasons, there's no fundamental reason why silver would go from 27 to 115. Can it go from 27 to 40 or 50? Sure. Okay. But to 115, that shows you that it became what's memeified. Okay, remember, these markets, silver and gold, are really tight markets. They're not big markets. They're not like the stock market or the bond market. They're really tight. So you can run the price up.
Hey everyone, just wanted to take a second and let you know you can get more insight on the markets and trade ideas from Karim and Brian Bottarelli at Monument Traders Alliance. This is the command center right here. Every day they come to you live from the war room and once a week from Monument Trend Advisors. All the trends you need to know to profit. There's a link down in the description. Make sure you check it out now. Monument Traders Alliance. You know, you just said something. They've been memeified, and I'm going to pull up a screen real quickly because I noticed something interesting right before we got on to do this. Here's your spot silver right now. Spot silver's trading 79.21. It's down 6% for the day. Started out strong, started bouncing towards $90, but fell back again. Now, if I switch this over and look at the SLV, which is that retail, what the retail traders are out there working on,
Yeah.
right? You see that it's up 5.3% or 5.4%. Is this the tail trying to wag the dog now that
It,
you've
it
got the
is.
retail investors in there?
Yeah, it's all retail right now, and one of the ways you know is, and this happened after that call, and we discussed
Right.
it in Monument Trend Advisory. Is I went down when silver was at 90. I went down trying to sell every piece of silver that I had. Okay, and for the bullion, they were giving me like a 5% discount, which is still not great, 5% under spot.
Mhm.
But for the coins, which are 90% silver, they were giving me like a 35% discount. This is what that's telling you, is that there's too much silver being given to these guys, and the warehouses are full. And you could tell, you could call silver dealers all over the place. And when there's that much oversupply, everybody's going into their cabinets. Everybody's getting all the sterling out, which is getting even less. They're getting all this stuff because a lot of silver is not like 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 gasoline, where it just
Mhm.
gets burned up into the atmosphere.
Right.
Okay, silver just gets recycled. Okay, over time, it's like it gets used. Even the stuff in the iPhone and everything. Once you send it back and you get rid of your iPhone, they go in there and they take that silver out and they send it back and gets recycled and stuff. So silver doesn't just like disappear unless it's like some jewelry that your mom left you, your grandma left you, whatever you bought that you're going to keep for the long term. It continuously gets recycled. Same with copper. You've heard about copper thieves and all this stuff, and they go
Oh
out there
yeah.
and they steal your air conditioning. It's there. It's tangible. It's tangible all the time. It doesn't evaporate, and you got to keep that in mind. So the
You know, it's
higher the
interesting.
price goes, the more people are going to find a way to go into graves and take silver teeth out of people,
We're
whatever.
digging up backyards and trying to find Hill Brothers coffee
That's right.
cans with,
That's right.
just chock full of silver instead
Yeah.
of nuts, right?
Yes.
So on that, and I hate to stay on the memification, but I think that's a real important part right now because silver's always been very volatile. I mean, if you look at gold and silver, I always have been taught that you watch the trend in gold and then you trade the trends in silver, and that volatility is where you get paid. If you're a
Yeah.
trader, it's awesome because
It's,
traders love volatility.
silver always follows gold, and it follows it hard. But
Right.
think about this one thing though. Silver, I think it was in the early 80s or whatever, whenever the Hunt brothers tried to corner the market and silver hit
80s,
like
yeah.
50 bucks an ounce, right? It took almost 4 decades for silver to recover to $50 an ounce. Think about that. It took almost 40 years after it crashed.
Right.
So what you're looking at right now is like, let's say silver goes to 115.
Mhm.
And I don't know if they'll go back there again or not. I certainly hope it does because I want to short it again. Go to 150 or go to 200. That's great. Okay. But if that holds true again, and what I'm saying is true about the fundamentals and the availability of silver and stuff like that, you could see someone who bought it at 115 right now, if history repeats, you'd be waiting until like 2060 to break even on your silver. Okay. So
There
keep
you
that in
go.
mind. And gold isn't like that. Gold tends to trade more because it's more of a currency than silver. So it's in high demand all over the world. Central banks aren't buying silver, they're buying gold. So there's
Right.
demand for gold.
You know, it's interesting. Ray Dalio, who has been talking about the dollar and its imminent failure. It's us. Let's say us losing our superpowers or our status here. It's a superpower based on what's going on with the dollar. And great book that he wrote years and years ago. I'm not going to go through it right now, but one of the things that happened last week. And when you mentioned the Hunt brothers, you know, everybody's been talking about market manipulation. And the Hunts, when you go back to 1980, when they tried to corner the market on silver, what happened was they went and they changed all the holding requirements, right?
Yeah,
They changed margin, and that buried them. We saw the CME change margin about 3 weeks ago. They raised the margin, and they said it's because we want to settle
yeah,
things down a little bit here.
didn't do anything.
But you mentioned during our outlook that you might see these warehouses start to slow down on the purchases or even stop them. We saw that. We've seen all kinds of stuff from China. My point is there some sort of, I'm not going to say conspiracy, but everybody's going to start looking at, and this is a
Yeah.
byproduct of being a meme, this is why it's
Well,
happening.
I think there's some conspiratorial stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
J.P. Morgan got nailed for it a few years ago. For trying to manipulate the silver or the gold spot prices. Trying to spoof prices, things like that.
Right.
But what's different now with the Hunt brothers is the Hunt brothers. Back in 1982, if you had $1 million, you were a millionaire. Okay? Today, if you got $1 million,
Right.
there's so much money in the system right now that you pour that money into GameStop, and GameStop goes to $400. You
Right.
pour that money into silver, and silver goes to $400. It's so easy to push these prices up. They don't care about margin requirements because you got people on Reddit and subreddit, whatever. Hey, buy silver. I'm going to put $20 in there. Well, now that reach is to 20 million people, not just the Hunt brothers talking to 100 people at a conference or whatever. Okay, so it's a
Right.
whole different dynamic, and that's what you've got to be careful about.
All right, let's back up just a little bit and look at some of the fundamentals here, because I think when you look at the curve, and we talked about the curve right now in futures, when you look out, you're still seeing a similar curve. I mean, prices, according to what traders in the pits are looking at paper prices. They're saying they're going to be around 90, maybe 92, $91
Yeah,
December, and then it drops a little bit. But the fundamentals that drive that, I'm going to pull up the TNX, which is the 10-year yield for those that don't know. Now, within the last week, we've seen the administration name who they want to see running the Fed, and could be a little more hawkish than
Mhm.
everybody expected. We saw the dollar take off after that announcement, and
Yeah,
that kind of fed into silver and gold tumbling as well. But now you're seeing the yields go up, interest rates going higher, not lower.
yeah.
When you combine that with some other things out there, 20-year bond is in a bear market, or it's been teetering on a bear market. Is there a liquidity issue that could be kind of out there on the horizon that everybody should worry about?
There's a confidence issue. There's a
I
confidence
like
issue.
that better.
You look at the BLS not releasing numbers on Friday, things like that. There's a confidence issue in the believability of what's coming out of the government. Okay. You don't know if the numbers are good. You don't know if the numbers are accurate. What you do know is that there are no policies in place right now to reduce the debt. Okay. There are no policies in place to reduce the debt. The trade deficit doubled year over year. Okay. I mean, these are not numbers that give you confidence that we're trying to bring or rein in. The only thing that can really impact the national debt, which is a 38.5 trillion, more than last year. It's going to be more at the end of this year, is if growth outpaces significantly. Okay, which means you've got to have like emerging markets type growth, 5-6% a year for a period of 10 years, and then you might make a dent in the interest on the debt. Okay, that's how much debt we have. We're paying a trillion and a half dollars in interest every year on the debt. Forget the debt itself; just the interest on the debt is ridiculous. Now that chart you looked at, it's got this thing that Brian, my partner, likes to look at. It's got a W formation. Okay, you can see it. It's a distinct W, and if that thing, the last chart, the
There
TNX,
you
see
go.
that W formation?
Right here, here.
Yeah,
There's your bottom of it.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. See now, so if it crosses that top line up there, okay, and you get
Right.
up to like 435, 440, if you get to 450, that thing is going higher. Okay. And you've got the 5 year tapping on five, I mean, not the 5 year, the 30 year tapping on 5%. And this is going to really kill the mortgage market. Okay. Because the mortgage market is based on the 10-year bond. It's not based on the 1 year note or the 1 year. And so if you want people to buy houses, if you want to stimulate home buying. This is not working right now. It's doing exactly the opposite. So there are structural issues in this economy, no matter what the AI sector is doing, no matter how many data centers we build. It doesn't. There are structural issues that need to be addressed. Tariffs are a great thing. So everybody's like gung ho. We're going to get $2,000 checks. Well, you know what? That's $2,000 of your own money. It's not really doing anything. It's like shifting from Peter to Paul back to
Right.
Peter. And then if you do that, then what happened to using that tariff money that you paid out of your pocket to reduce the debt? Well, obviously the debt doesn't get reduced. So you're going to get hammered one way or the other. If we get money, if we get our own money back, the debt goes up. If we
Right.
don't get our own money back, but spend it on other stuff, that's outside of the U.S. purview of the U.S. domestic economy, again, the debt goes up. So you have to be betting. You have to be betting that the U.S. economy is going to grow 5 to 6% a year for a decade. I'll bet against that. I
Yeah.
love the U.S. market. I invest in it, but to have an economy this size grow at that pace is
Mm-mm.
it's going to be hard, really hard.
On the housing thing, I just saw that I think it was Pulte even, which Bill Pulte is part of he's in there. They're announcing Trump homes to address affordability and housing. So maybe that'll help out.
Listen, uh, there are a lot of short-term things that can look good, but
Right.
if you're a long-term investor, and I've told people this twice. Okay, what happened in the last correction we had, and the correction last year, okay, in last April, was that the U.S. bond market sold off and the U.S. dollar sold off. These two things, this is unnatural. Okay, I cannot think of a time in history when you had a crisis, even in the U.S., where the U.S. Treasury market didn't rally and where the U.S. dollar didn't rally. Okay, people are pulling money out during these times, and that's scary because our entire house, I'd say, this house of cards, which is the debt, the whole thing is sitting on confidence in the US, confidence in the US dollar, confidence in the US Treasury market. And if you look at the cost of insuring US debt, it's right up there with the cost of insuring Greek debt. Okay. That's
Yeah.
not cool. Okay? You want to be the same price as insuring Swiss debt, not Greek debt. And when you've got these numbers, and people don't, if you listen to these pundits and stuff, they're not going to tell you this because they're paid to sell you stuff. They're paid to sell advertising. They're never going to get on there and have a serious conversation because it's a downer. I mean, everything I'm saying right now is a downer. I'm not happy about this. Okay. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, wow, I've got all my assets sitting in US dollars and US dollar denominated stuff. I live in the US, I've got it's not cool. Okay. So I'm basically digging my own grave by saying this, but I'm hoping that cooler heads prevail and people figure it out over time because we always have figured it out over time. Will this time be different? Who knows?
One more quick reminder, check out Karim and Brian Bottarelli at Monument Traders Alliance. The link is down in the description. It feels like a little bit more of a tipping point. But as you said, I mean, when we hear about defense spending going up next year by,
500 billion more?
yes,
Where's that coming from?
we need to figure out where the money's coming
Okay.
from before
Where's the
we
money
spend it.
coming from?
This is,
That's what I'm asking.
yeah. Let's take one more look, and we'll close it down here because I know you've got to get ready to go into another stream here that we want to
Yeah.
talk about. But Bitcoin,
Yeah.
I'm,
Let's
I'm,
talk about Bitcoin.
I think about Bitcoin, and a couple of years ago, 2022, there was a connection between Bitcoin and gold. They kind of moved with a high degree of correlation. And it was because we were told that Bitcoin was a great store of value, right? That has changed dramatically. And right now, the chart that I just brought up, we've seen Bitcoin drop below 80,000. And if I go out to a monthly chart on this and you look at how key 75,000 is on Bitcoin, right there it is. And we're breaking through it today. It's
And,
not a store of value. This is a speculative store of value. And the
well,
speculators are going risk off right now. What
okay.
do you see in this?
Yeah. So first of all, Bitcoin was only $10 20 years ago.
Hmm.
So it's had a massive run no matter how you look at it. Okay. People have made
Right.
a crap load of money. So, but what's going to happen going forward? I mean, I was thinking about the other day. Bitcoin is like a dream. Okay, it's like a dream asset. It's like, what are Bitcoin's fundamentals? Nobody can tell me. Okay, what's Bitcoin's tangible value? Nobody can tell me. What's the store of value? Well, if you pay me in Bitcoin today, I'm not going to hold it. I'm going to turn it right over because something can fall $4,000 in one trading session. It doesn't seem like a store of value to me, right? So,
Right.
and yet every time we've made an investment in Bitcoin, we've made money and then we've lost money 2 weeks later. Okay? We can never sustainably make money in Bitcoin. In the war room, we've taken profits on Bitcoin, and monument traders, trend advisors, we've taken profits, but we've given it back. And right now we're sitting on one position and we're probably going to give it back again. I'm just so tired. Whereas you compare something like gold to Bitcoin, well, gold has a tangible value. You know, it's just something that people understand. You can't wear Bitcoin around your wrists, which you could, I guess, if you bought something. But there are things that it's not like I'm saying, oh, gold is the best asset in the world. Okay, when you get times of inflation, like we're kind of in right now, pretty much everything goes up. That's a hard asset. So
Right.
stock market, houses, whatever. Listen, if you owned a house in 1973 and you paid 30 grand for it, well, that house is worth four hundred
Right.
thousand dollars in a normal neighborhood and $4 million in California. Well, why is that? It's because of inflation. Okay, this is not. They had to keep up. The dollar lost 90% of its value since 1973. The house went up to
Right.
counteract that because you're paying more for it. Okay, so you have to be in hard assets, and gold is a hard asset. Bitcoin is not showing it's a hard asset. The chart you brought up. Okay, so
Yep.
here is what I think could happen if Bitcoin doesn't hold around over 70,000. Okay,
Yep.
and that's giving it leeway. It should be like 73 to 74,000. If it
Right.
doesn't hold down here, next stop is the 50s. Okay, you can see it crash all the way down to 50. And people will say, well, this is a normal correction. Bitcoin goes up and then it drops 50 or 80%, and then it goes back up 3,000%. Then it goes down another 1,500, whatever it is. Okay. It's just too speculative for me. Okay. I just don't like the way it trades because I can't point to some fundamentals. You know, January of 2025, actually November of 2024, okay, when we had the election
Yep.
and the new administration came on board, Bitcoin was the asset of choice. Crypto, world liberty, token this, token that, all this
Right.
crap, all this garbage was flying because they were all saying the new administration is going to bring in the new crypto era. Okay,
Right.
everybody was on board with that. Well, all I can say is who the F is selling crypto and all these tokens? Why is Bitcoin 75,000 down from 125,000? Tell me who's selling. If all these guys are blowing smoke and saying you should own it, okay, because this is the next revolution, why is it at 75? Have you asked yourself that? Who's selling? Okay. I can give you like 5 guesses on who's selling. It's not the regular guy. It's the
Right.
guys who helped you pump it up to 125. And they've been selling all the way down while still telling you crypto is the best thing out there. Crypto is the greatest thing out there. I don't understand. If you've got the full might and weight of the US government, the biggest power in the world, the wealthiest country in the world, if you've got the full weight of the US government behind crypto, why is it down $50,000 a coin?
It's the oldest game in the book, isn't it? I mean, it truly is.
It doesn't make sense, right?
Crypto's turned into, just
It doesn't. It makes no sense. Well, how can this be possible? That's what you should be asking yourself. Is once again you've had the rug pulled over your head. Okay,
yep.
someone's made a ton of money. Someone's made a ton of money on this for sure.
So in
But
this case,
I don't understand why is it down. Give me an
uh,
answer.
if you
Right?
start going down the rabbit hole, normally everybody pokes their finger at Wall Street and the Jamie Dimons and all those, but it doesn't seem like because they were so slow to jump in on this,
Right.
and actually some of the larger banks on Wall Street haven't even gotten into Bitcoin in terms. I mean, they'll do it a little bit if the clients come and bug them, but they're not out there
I'm
actively.
still hearing it from people like on the talking heads on Fox Business and on
Hmm.
CNBC. They're all still saying crypto. Everybody's getting into crypto. Crypto is crypto. Great. Okay, fine. Get into crypto, but don't do it with money that matters to you. Okay,
There you
trade
go.
it, speculate with it, whatever you want with it. Believe all these guys if you want, but you have to ask yourself this question: why is it down 50 grand when you're in an environment that couldn't be better, regulatory wise, anything wise, for cryptocurrencies. Couldn't be better. No other administration in history to date has come out and said, we're behind crypto. Okay?
You know, this makes me think, and I'm not going to start pulling up charts, but last time that we saw this administration in power, we were told that oil, dig baby or drill baby drill, and the oil service companies were one of the worst performers during
Yeah.
that period.
But yeah,
Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to bring it in for a landing here. When I look at crypto and when you're looking at crypto and what you're saying, 50,000, that's a 33% pull from where we are right
if
now.
you look at
And
the chart, you're
yeah,
at support right now. If it doesn't hold this support, where is it going to go? Well, the next level down is like 53,000.
yep. And you
Okay?
start to look at, and that's a nice round number. The market loves round
Yeah.
numbers. Let me pull that chart up. And that would complete about a 65% pullback from where we were just a scant 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And that would look more like what we saw here in 2022.
Yeah,
That
that's what I'm
period
saying.
where we saw
The,
the
the,
continue.
the crypto guys will say this is normal. Okay, well, I don't think it's normal if I bought it at 125 and now it's at 50 or 70. That's not normal to me.
No,
That's real money. And
this
I guarantee you, mom and pop are not sitting there holding it. They're going to be liquidating it.
Yep. And this was a 75% pullback, and that's the last time we saw it decouple truly from gold. And I note as a technician here, and I never look at a 50-month moving average because it doesn't mean that much. But man, we dipped all the way down below that. It looks there's a similar pattern here, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Brian would say the same thing for sure. All right, so we don't like Bitcoin. Traders, they can figure out how to short it if they like. There are ETFs and all that out there. Let's wrap it up with looking. We know your Bitcoin call right now is we're looking for 50 if we break through 75,000. Gold, do you care to give us just a little glimmer of what you're looking at there?
I think gold. I would say a fair value for gold is going to be around between 3 and 4,000.
Okay.
So that's where the fair value is. Again, for the same reasons. There's no real reason for it to go to 5,000. But you've got all these external factors. In the past, you could say, "Oh, this is gold is crazy. It's going to correct." Now you've got these external factors at play. The U.S. dollar, the tariffs, wars, all this kind of stuff going on. So any one of these factors can really impact the price of gold positively or negatively. But what you've seen is that gold is a global phenomenon. Crypto is not a global phenomenon.
Right.
Silver is not a global phenomenon. So that's what makes gold different. Should it be a 5,000? I was in Spain last week, all right? And I was like, and gold hit like 5,500 or something, right? And I was like,
Right.
I need to sell some gold, right? But I can't because I'm not at home, right? So I can't go to the bank and pull out a couple of Krugerrands and go down to my store and sell it. I was so mad. I said, well, maybe I'll hold on for another couple of days till I get home. No, damn it, and
Yeah.
dropped $1,000 just like that. So
Where
yeah,
do, where do you buy gold? If when Karim's looking at the chart, or when he's looking at, maybe you're not even looking at the chart.
yeah.
Is there a price where you just can't resist buying more gold,
See,
going out
see
and
that
getting the Kruger in?
I bought gold at $250 an ounce.
Hmm.
So it's really hard for me to then pay 5,000 for it. But I think you look at what it costs the miners to mine gold. So the all-in sustained cost for mining right now for an ounce of gold is running around 1,250 to $1,500. Okay,
Okay.
so that's their cost. So anything above that is going to be profit, which
Right.
is great for the gold miner. And I own a lot of gold mining stocks. I own a lot of silver mining stocks, but I bought these when Hecla was $2.90, not when Hecla was $27. So I'm sitting pretty in these companies. But I'd be a buyer of gold at $3,000 an
Okay.
ounce for sure. Yeah,
$3,000.
yeah.
And last one I'll circle back to is just silver. If we're looking at silver, spot silver, we hit Bitcoin, we've hit gold. How about that spot silver? Is there a price right now that you would walk down to the store and start buying a few coins
In the
again?
40s, maybe in the 40s.
All right, so a nice big drop even from where we are today.
Well, silver is just it's a speculative market. It's a little bit
Right,
different. So that it's got a bigger swing potential. Gold falling $800 an ounce is no picnic either. Okay, but it
right.
didn't fall 40%. Okay, gold fell 20%. So just like silver will go up stronger than gold, it'll go down faster than gold too.
Faster than gold as well. All right.
Yep.
So the volatility's there. The trend is with gold and Bitcoin right now. Who
Yeah.
watch
Yeah, I
that?
mean, yeah, both silver and gold are in a bull market right now. The trend is still intact. It's not like it's broken. Bitcoin's trend is broken.
Yeah, Bitcoin has. All right. Anything else you want to share? Any last minute little tidbits that you'd give as advice for those folks that are out there besides come and check you out at Monument Trend
So,
Advisory and in the War Room?
so if silver goes over $100 again, buy ZSL, okay, which is the silver short ETF.
Okay. Short ETF on silver. I
Um,
love that $100 too. I don't know if I've ever told you, but sentiment has always been a firm part of my my analysis. And $100. Remember when the Dow hit 10,000 and
yeah,
everybody cheered and you had the hats, and then all of a sudden it went down. Art
yeah.
Cashin was crying on the floor, but then it
Listen,
came back up again. It takes a lot to go through those round numbers. Is the
yeah,
point?
and when everybody's talking about it too, nobody was talking
Oh
about
yeah.
silver a year ago. Now everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, no more memification of it's going to take a while. Everybody's going to have to get shaken out of that trade before
Yeah,
they
yeah. I mean, it's going to continuously rally and fall because now it's in everybody's, eyesight. It's in front of you. But at some
Yep.
point, when it gets exhausted, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah. Well, all right, Karim. I know you've got to run. You've got another stream to do. As I said, make sure you check out Karim in the War Room as well as Monument Trend Advisory. Awesome knowledge you're dropping all the time. And I'm glad we got to go back so quickly and take a look at what you
Yep.
said on silver at the beginning of the year there.
Right.
Thanks for your
Thanks,
time, bud.
CJ. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.